Lovelies, welcome back to another video, another story time. Let's just start. So as we all know, the United States has had a funky relationship with educating its citizens on, history. I'll give you an example. So in 1870, Senator Hiram Levels of Mississippi and Representative Joseph Rainey of South Carolina were the first African Americans to ever serve in Congress. Or here's another fact. The 15th president, James Buchanan, was most likely gay. He never married. He was named a bachelor for this reason, because he never married, never had kids of his own. He did adopt one. Her name was Harriet Lane. And he had a very close relationship with, what is his name? William Rufus King. So for this one, for Rob Buchanan, historians are still discussing to this day if he was actually gay or not. Or, another fact, Harriet Tubman was a general in the Civil War. Or, that the last slave ship to ever reach the States was in 1860, landing in Mobile, Alabama, where a small community of slave descendants live there to this very day. Bet y'all didn't know the information. Me neither. But it's something that you never learn in school. It could have been like a trivia day we learned it, but you never learn these things, Like, but if you look at some images of Congress back then, some of you may have only seen mostly white people in Congress, which in that time period, as odd as it sounds, it wasn't the case. They actually did have quite a few black men there. Didn't have any black women yet, because, they weren't that progressive, I guess. But this video is not supposed to be a history lesson. I just wanted to put some things out there because, I didn't know these things growing up. And it kind of made me feel a certain type of way when I found them out later. So, slavery. We all know about it. Horrible thing. Basically built the country. More ways than one. Yeah, I'm doing a slavery topic, yeah. Anyways, the schools that I was in, slavery was always glossed over, no matter where it was at. Teachers didn't really like to dwell on the negative, which is okay, I guess. Not really, I'm lying. I remember one time in middle school, in 2007, a history teacher assigned us a weird task to help us understand slavery. There were two options: a book essay, which no one wanted to read at the time, or Plan B. Now, we didn't know what Plan B was, so we took a vote, and of course, democracy won, surprising, I know, and we had to reenact one of three scenarios of slavery: the Underground Railroad, a slave and slave master relationship, or runaway slaves. I'm not joking. I'm not making this up. Now, the teacher was Hispanic. She was a very nice lady from what I remember. She did make history fun. And I know that, teachers don't make classes fun. I get that. Cool. Makes kids pay attention more. I understand that. However, when you tell a bunch of 7th graders, a bunch of edgy, stupid 7th graders to reenact a serious moment in our history for entertainment and bonus points, there may be a problem. Mind you, the class had multiple races in the class. There were black, white, Hispanic, and a couple Asian kids in my class. There wasn't a lot of black kids in the class, but there was enough there to where, like, if you looked across the room, it wouldn't just be one shade. It'd be like a bunch of shades, if that makes any sense. One of my friends, we'll call her Christina. I don't know. I can't think of her. Like, I can't remember her real name. She was actually from Africa. Like, her parents were literally from the continent. I forget which country, but she was like a second generation descendant, and her parents were in the military, I believe. So I'm assuming she was born on the base, and they lived there, and then they came to the States. So that's all I remember. So there had to be 4 people to do this reenactment. 4 of us. Okay, I had 2 white friends. We'll call them Katie and I don't know what's another white name. Sarah. There you go. Katie and Sarah, the 2 white chicks. And we reenacted the Runaways because it was like a mixture of the Runaways and the Underground Railroad, kind of, if that makes any sense. So this is how it went. One of us had to be the slave owner chasing the slaves with the ravenous dog. We ended up just using a plushie because we're not using a real person for that either. The white girl, Katie, was the slave master. We were all slaves. We had to do the entire thing. This had to go on for about 5 minutes. This was a shit show. We had to pretend like we were climbing trees, hiding hiding behind desks, sleeping in trees. Mind you, this classroom is not very big. So all the people who aren't doing their performance were like, they made a dome around us in a way, and we're kind of pinned against this shelf in the back of the room. And we had to use that area to act out the entire freaking thing. And as bad as it was, kids were actually laughing and making jokes. We didn't have to address the part, obviously, but from what I remember, we weren't wearing shoes, from what I remember, except for the slave master person. Then they used the dog as a plushie, and the teacher was kind of just sitting in the back of the room, not saying anything, kind of having a hidden smile kind of situation. I don't know if she was smiling because it was funny, or if she realized I probably shouldn't have made them do this assignment. I don't know. Like, once we were done, I ended up laughing myself, only because I had mixed emotions about it. It almost felt degrading a little bit, and I was disgusted. But it was 4th grade, I guess. I mean, the other two chicks, Katie and Sarah, just kind of laughed it off. Meanwhile, the other black chick and I are just kind of like, eh. We never spoke about that day, though. But after we went, everybody else went. I went to the bathroom and never came back. We didn't really learn anything about slavery after that. Obviously, like, how are you gonna have us reenact slavery? We're not gonna learn things like that. And then everyone was treating it like a joke. Like, how? I understand reenacting things to better have an understanding of what was going on. I get that. But at the same time, you're asking a bunch of 7th graders to reenact things on their own. Like, they're given minimal information of what happened during slavery. Like, all we were taught was Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, Nat Turner. That's it. I had to think about it. Those young people were really taught, but it was a mess. After the next day, after everybody went or whatever, our class topics changed like every week and a half, maybe for 2 weeks. So after slavery, we went to the Civil War, obviously, 1865. Then we went to World War One, then World War II, then Civil Rights, and then modern day. We skipped so much history that it's honestly astonishing that I passed the SATs. I'm surprised I passed anything, because every school I've been to that taught history, it was always taught that exact same way. Well, at least like at the college, but the college history lessons are a whole nother story. Oh my God. You think I didn't know how racist my history teacher could be in college until I had one in particular in Texas. Ooh, no, that's a story for another day. I'm not even going to get into that one. So after the whole slavery reenactment thing, I went home, obviously. Never told my mom about it. The next day, like after I went home, the other kids would make jokes and laugh about, the black kids being forced to pretend to be slaves. And, being 7th grade, middle schoolers, edgelords, whatever, in 2007 is to be expected, but holy crap, they didn't learn shit. But before I wrote the script, and this was like weeks ago, I've been thinking about telling this story for a long time. I brought it to my mom because I was watching a clip from John Oliver, and it like reignited that memory I had. And I explained to her what happened, and she was like, "What the heck?" She's like, "I wish you would have told me beforehand." But again, I never did because, I was a 7th grader who didn't want to bring it to her parent. And of course, my mom told my grandmother, who found a twisted sense of irony in that. So my grandmother came over and explained to me that my great-great-great-great-great-grandma was in fact born a slave. I think she was born a couple of years before slavery was abolished, like 1860 something, before 1865, another for a fact. And the cruel irony of that is like, why must you hurt me so? Like, oh, like, what the fuck, man? And my grandma just kind of was just like, ain't that some shit? And I'm like, ain't it, right? Like, in a way, you are almost reenacting your great-great-great-great-great-grandma's life. Almost, but not really. And then I mentioned that this story took place in New Jersey, the northern states, the fucking Union, the ones who fought the South to, abolish slavery and all that fun stuff. Yeah, this was in that region. The Shocked? I know. But not surprising because in the North, freed slaves weren't treated good anyways. It wasn't as bad as the South, obviously, but it still wasn't good, you know? And I just find it interesting that my history teacher in the North kind of made slavery into this funny, entertaining thing, while my college history teacher in the South made slavery out to be this necessary evil. Because I will never create this comment. He told me this is from 2016. I remember this is the year Trump got elected. I remember this freaking class. He said slavery wasn't that bad. Look at how all of you got here. You would think that the North would be better. No, it's not. In northern states, they're just better at hiding racist shit. That's the only difference. And I can't. I have to end this video. I can't do it anymore because just thinking about it brought back so many other memories of other instances where teachers have talked about slavery and they've all downplayed it in one way or another. One teacher did the math, and I was like, that doesn't make it right. And so I'm gonna just end it here. Yeah, that's the short story of how I had to basically reenact slavery for a fucking grade. I don't even remember what I got at this point. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys later again whenever I'm feeling better. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, tell me your stories at the bottom. Do whatever you like. Remember to wash your hands, have peppermint when you wear your mask on, because mask breath is a fucking thing. Yeah, that's basically it. Bye. 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 Bye.